Hey everyone, welcome to MRM Sportsman. I'm your host, Ronald M. It's game week 10. Man, only 28 game weeks left. Yo, the season is flying by. The season is flying by. And you know the weird part? The way the Premier League table is still set up. Like, any team can jump from any position. Other than the top three, I haven't seen another team which is on form. Okay, also Brighton. I think I can also include Brighton on that one. I haven't seen another team that has been on form or is trying to cement their position. Any team at the moment can overtake another team, man. It's a fascinating, interesting, and weird season at the same time. But like I said, guys, it's game week 10, and it is the game week for the big one. We do have Arsenal hosting Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday. I think Sunday 4 p.m. Yes, it's Sunday on 4 p.m. I think that's definitely the biggest game of the weekend so far. For this game week rather. And I think the reason why I say this is the big one for us now, over the past few seasons, okay, Arsenal have played Manchester United so far. They've played Spurs. They've lost against Manchester United and defeated Spurs. And we always get those results every season. Like even last season, Manchester United lost away at Old Trafford and then won the reverse fixture at Emirates Stadium. The same happened against Spurs. They beat Spurs at home, they lost away to Spurs. So it wasn't something new. But this one now, this fixture against Liverpool have actually been walloping Arsenal for the past few seasons, especially under Klopp. And this match always produces goals. And you know the weird part about it is, normally when this team plays, there's one team which is defensively not sound and the other is on form. But this time around, the roles have been vice versa. Liverpool actually under pressure in comparison to Arsenal. And it'll be interesting to see how Klopp treats this whole game. I've already seen the press conference where he was taking a bit of a shot at Arteta for the sign on Gabriel Jesus, that the reason why they signed him is City feel like they're so far behind them. They didn't mind giving them Zinchenko and Jesus. Yeah, I'm just paraphrasing what Klopp said. So it's an interesting psyche they already, which is being planted by Klopp, man. But again, that would be a huge match at the Emirates. I think like this is the biggest test for Arsenal so far. And if Arsenal pass this test with flying colours, then I'll put my left hand up and say they are Premier League title contenders. They're not pretenders like Spurs anymore. They're now genuinely title contenders. Because if they manage to beat Liverpool, and even if it's scoreline, let's say even if it's a 2-1 or a 1-0 against Liverpool, although I doubt Liverpool will fail to score, even if it's a 1-0 though, that would be impressive for that Arsenal team. It would be a kind of age for that Arsenal team, in my honesty. I think this season, if an Arsenal fan, you shouldn't look forward to beating Chelsea. Yes, it's a London derby. You have beat Spurs already. The other top six teams, I think you can beat. You've shown even when you're at your worst that you can defeat them. It's all about beating Manchester City and Liverpool. That will cement your place where we can say you are like Premier League title contenders, man. It will be a huge blockbuster of a match. There'll be so much twists and turns in this game. I can already feel it. It will be interesting to see which teams are picked out. Arsenal did rotated out for their Europa League game, and Liverpool like tried a new formation, playing 4 attackings and just 2 holding in Henderson and Thiago. So again, it'll be interesting to see how they battle out tactically. But then that's not the only match we have this weekend. Let me just give you a run through of the matches we have. We have Saturday kickoff at 3 p.m. with multiple games playing on that time. We have Bournemouth hosting Leicester City, the mighty Chelsea playing Wolves, the return of Diego Costa at Stamford Bridge. We have Manchester City hosting Southampton. Will it be another cricket scoreline? Will it be 9-0 again? Like, you know, Southampton get those every season. And then also have Newcastle versus Brentford, same time at 3 p.m. Then 5:30 p.m. with Brighton hosting the shaky Spurs at the moment, man. That'll be a huge game for Spurs. I think if Spurs loses this game, then their top 4 credentials are questioned a bit. And then on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff with Crystal Palace hosting Leeds United, West Ham hosting Fulham. Then, of course, the big one, Arsenal hosting Liverpool. And then, in a weird kickoff at 7 p.m. on a Sunday with Everton hosting Manchester United. And then Monday Night Football of Nottingham Forest hosting Aston Villa, men. Okay, let me just go through the run-through of what I think will happen in each game, my prediction for each game. Let's start with the 3 p.m. kickoff. For me, I think Bournemouth versus Leicester. This is Leicester's chance to actually get a victory, like get the momentum going after the 4-0 win over Nottingham Forest. I think Bournemouth, even though they've lost the game, I think, 4 games now? I think they've won 1 and drawn 3, or if I'm missing my stats. But then Leicester, this is a chance. They're away from home, yes, but this is a chance to actually get that momentum and just fly off the bottom 4. Because if they lose this game, again, I think Brendan Rodgers will be under pressure. If they fail to win it at the same time, I feel like you'll be under pressure. These are the games that Leicester has to win to get out of the relegation battle, in all honesty. So I'll go with the Bournemouth 1, Leicester 2. And then the Chelsea versus Wolves. I mean, Wolves last time around sacked Bruno Lage after the defeat to West Ham, the 2-0 defeat to West Ham. So it'll be interesting to see with the bounce back, with the players feel like a leash has been unleashed on them. Will they attack Chelsea? Will they be creative? And the biggest question of them all, will Diego Costa start? I mean, imagine last weekend we saw Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. We saw Gallagher come on and then score the winner. You always get this kind of, I don't want to say voodoo, or this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it a curse? No, it's not a curse. This kind of scenarios where a former player always scores against a former player of a team always scores against that team when they're playing the team. So will Costa get a goal against Chelsea? If they start him, I can see Costa being a nuisance. I can see Costa trying to see which is the weakest link. And I think maybe he might target Chalobah, or you might just think, because obviously the interesting part about this, Costa is no longer the explosive Costa in terms of pace-wise. So against Thiago Silva, I think he's up for a battle. Against Koulibaly, he wants the physicality he can bring. So maybe he might just try and take a Chalobah. But we'll see, man. I think overall Chelsea will win this game. I can see Chelsea winning it 2-1 as well. Yeah, I think with Stellang and Opa, I expect them to get goals. And I wish Mount can also get a goal now. I think he's gone far too long without getting a goal. And yeah, I think Chelsea will go for it. We'll get a 2-1 victory here. And then we also have Newcastle versus Brentford. Newcastle, which thumped Fulham 4-1 last time around. And Brentford, which drew with Bournemouth. For me, with Brentford, their form is up and down, so erratic. And Newcastle is on fire. Newcastle is on point. I would give it to Ed Howe to get a home victory. Although I think if I'm Brentford, I'll just sit down, try and hit on the counter. Because Newcastle told me, the supporters, how they'll be on your back. So I'd go for maybe a score draw, maybe a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw for this match. I think Brentford have in it in them to actually get away goals and also fight for some points in this game. So I'll go with the 2-2 draw. And then you have the late kickoff on Saturday. Brighton hosting Spurs, man. If Brighton play the way they played against Liverpool away from home, I think this time at home they have a huge chance to actually get 3 points from Spurs. But then at the same time, this game is suited for what Spurs wants to do. Brighton like having possession. They're comfortable on the ball. Every player for Brighton is comfortable on the ball. So it would be interesting to see if Spurs just give them the possession and hit them on the counter. Because that's what Conte want to do. To make sure that even if he has 20% possession but then he wins 3-0, Conte will absolutely take that. So for this game, but I feel like Brighton might have a trick up her sleeve, man. They've seen how Arsenal played against Spurs. So I think they'll try to do the same thing. Try to make sure that they pin them back as far deep as they can. Because Spurs have been getting deeper and deeper and deeper over this beginning of the season already. So I can see Brighton getting some points there. Let me just go with Spurs again being shocked and being poor. I would go with this Brighton 3, Tottenham Spurs 1. I think Spurs can score a goal, but then I think to be a repeat of the scoreline against Arsenal, I can see Brighton winning 3. This is not a dig at Spurs, but then Spurs have been playing great, and Brighton are on form. Other than Arsenal and Manchester City, I think Brighton are also the informed team at the moment. So I'll go with the Brighton win, 3-1. And then the match on Sunday, Crystal Palace host Leeds United. Leeds are so undisciplined this season. I think they've been picking up far many 2 yellow cards and also red cards as well, man. In Crystal Palace, I was actually shocked when I saw the Premier League table. And that Palace are, I think, 17th. I thought maybe they'll be in 11th or 10th space. The way, how at times your eyes tell you one thing and statistics tell you the other thing. Like I've seen Brighton, I've seen Brighton, I've seen Crystal Palace play good football. I've seen them go toe-to-toe with Liverpool, with Manchester United. But then I didn't realize they're not winning so many games. So I think this is a must-win for Patrick Vieira. Like I've always said, I have a soft spot for Palace, for the black players, the number of black players we start for them. I can see Crystal Palace getting a victory against Leeds. Although Leeds, they have this old school vibe about them. This fight in a dog. They no longer have just like technical players. They can fight. You saw that match against Aston Villa. It was a feisty match. And Crystal Palace players are always up for that. So, it'll be interesting to see, man. And Selhurst Park, I like how the supporters, like the stands, is so near the pitch. So, the supporters are always involved in the match. You can actually feel their presence, even when you're watching on the telly. You can feel their presence. But again, I'll give it to Crystal Palace. Maybe I'm being biased. I think Palace can win this one 2-1. And then we move on to West Ham versus Fulham. West Ham and Fulham, I think Fulham will be wounded from that 4-1 defeat at home to Newcastle. And West Ham will be boosted again by the Conference League victory and the 2-0 victory over Wolves. So it'll be a huge, huge game for both teams, man. I think Moyes would want to get that momentum going and show that his team are still willing to fight for like the Europa Conference League or even the Europa Sports again. I think there's so much fun in Europa last season going all the way to the semi-final. The one that experienced season after season after season. So that it shows progression and establishes them as a European side, even if it's in the Conference League or the Europa League. And this season again, I think they have a shot at winning the Conference League. They have a huge shot at winning the Conference League. So for this match, I think Mitrovic will get his traditional goal, will get his expected goal. Let me go with Fulham away. Let me go with a 2-2 draw. I can see West Ham conceding goals because the onus will be on them to play possession-based football and try to hit on the counter. If you saw against Wolves, one of the goals I think was more of a counter-ish. I think the goal Skamaka scored, it was Bowen who, I think he hit the ball, he got a deflection and then Skamaka scored a beautiful goal. But then on the transition, and this time around, I think Fulham won't mind to give West Ham the ball and actually try to counter them. So I can go for a 2-2 score draw. And then the big one, ladies and gentlemen, I think all has been said. For me, this is the battle of the midfield. I think every position will be battled out. Of course, Ramsdale is not quite on the same level with Alisson at the moment. But I think they're both great goalkeepers. Okay, one is world class. The one he's a good coach in Ramsdale, The defense on paper, imagine Saliba, Van Dijk, Matip, Gabriel. Those are 4 good defenders. Those are 4 brilliant defenders. And Saliba and Van Dijk have that similarity, both pacey, both comfortable on the ball, both commanding. And, Saliba is like Van Dijk light, with all due respect. He does have similarities to Van Dijk, the height, even the skin complexion, the way he just commands, the way he's just so calm. You never see him, in a panic mode trying to defend. Yes, Saliba, you can get at him. Just like Van Dijk, you can get at him this season. So again, man, the midfield, you have Partey who's fit, who's like the anchor man of the team, and Xhaka playing box to box, Martinelli being like the creative side who also can do a box to box run. Then on the flip side, we have Henderson who's like the box to box. You have Thiago who's like the calmer. If I was to pick a player similar to another one, I say Thiago, Odegaard. I know they're different, but then they are the spark of the team. You think Henderson and Xhaka, I know they're different, but then they do like that job for both teams. I mean, Xhaka doesn't mind putting in a tackle and getting a yellow card. He doesn't mind arriving late in the box. This season we've seen. Then if he plays Fabinho, if he goes for 4-3-3, Fabinho or Partey, which holding do you prefer? That both come to the ball, they both like the dirty work. I mean, we're starting to see a bit of the part we saw at Atletico Madrid now. You see, so it's quite an interesting battle throughout the whole pitch. And then striker force, if Klopp goes for a 4-3-3, and then of course you expect, I think you play Salah, Firmino, and then I think you go with Diaz. If it goes I think you go Salah, Firmino, and Diaz, because you can't drop Firmino for the 4 years against Brighton. He scored 2 goals already. Okay, he scored 2 goals last game week against Brighton. So that would be interesting as well. If Klopp decides to go with the tactic he went with against Rangers, which was a 4-2-3-1, of Henderson and Thiago holding as the quarterbacks, and then you had Salah, Jota, Diaz, and then Darwin Núñez up front. That would be, for me, okay, Klopp could put it off, but I think it would be suicidal, because as we saw against Spurs, if Arsenal dominates the midfield, they're most likely to dominate the whole game and try and get more goals, because they will press you from the mid. So it'll be interesting, man. Interesting play. I think with Arteta, the system is set, unless if we have an unexpected injury. We know he's going to play Zinchenko, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus, Saka. And that front three, and at times the front four-ish with Odegaard, or with Xhaka stepping in, it's so fluid, man. It's similar to the prime. Okay, they're not on that level, but then you think of how Jesus doesn't mind like drifting wide, dropping in deep. That's what Firmino does anyway. And you think of Saka, he's pacey, the way he can cut in and move around the game and just pull a finesse shot. That's Salah. You think of Martinelli. Okay, he's not on the level of Mane, but then Martinelli is so comfortable on the ball, doesn't mind going for that battle with strikers. He can hold up play, he can bring in other players, man. So it'll be an interesting match. And when you think about it, of course, they're 2 different teams, but then you can see what Arteta is doing, a bit of what Klopp was doing when he went to Liverpool. Of course, the football tempo and stuff is different, man. But again, that would be a huge match. It has serious consequences on the top 4, on the first and second positions, because you would expect City to defeat Southampton. You would expect City to get at Southampton. And if Arsenal fail to win this game, City will overtake Arsenal. And when City's up there, they won't fall off. They'll just continue pounding teams away. Don't think what I'm thinking. They'll continue just beating teams away, man. So yeah. And then we also have the last game on Saturday, which is Everton versus Manchester United. Manchester United, which played Omonia. All the respect to the Cyprus team, man. But that was a feisty, interesting match. And United were so wasteful. I don't want to talk about Sierra because I respect the GOAT, even though I'm a Messi fan. I respect the GOAT. I know he had one of those games where things just didn't go his way. Let's put it that way. But then, for me, the interesting part was the way Sancho played. I mean, Rashford and Martial are now ahead of Sancho. I think they're the players to fear the most ahead of Sancho. Sancho doesn't seem to have that enough dedication of, actually, I'm playing for Man United, let me give it my 100% on the pitch. I'm not accusing him of being lazy or anything, but then the goal they conceded when Malaysia made a mistake, Sancho didn't actually track back that much, and other players were storming forward. So yeah, man, it'll be interesting to see what Ten Hag does. I think this is a huge match for Ten Hag. It's bigger than the Arsenal match and the Liverpool match, or even the matches at Derby. Because if he fails to beat Everton, then people always say, no, Ten Hag this, Ten Hag that. Simply because, for me, we expected United to do better against City, but then no one was shocked they were defeated by City. We knew against Liverpool they were going to fight, and they actually outfought Liverpool. We knew against Arsenal they always get a victory, no matter which team is playing better. In that fixture, traditionally anyone can come up top. If you know the history of Premier League, you know that fixture is unpredictable, And then this one against Everton were actually on form. Lampard has won 2 back-to-back games. They've conceded the least amount of goals, even though they haven't been scoring so many goals, but then at least they're now tighter at the back. So the onus is on Manchester United to try and break them down. So will you go with Casemiro in the midfield or go with Scott McTominay? That's an interesting fact. I think Martial is a guaranteed starter. The front there might be Martial, Rashford, and Anthony. I don't see Sancho starting this game. And it will be a bit weird if he starts Rashford as a number 9 and leaves Martial out, because Martial understands that number 9 role. And with a team sitting deep like Everton or trying to hit on the counter, being physical, I think you need a number 9 who can hold the ball, just bring in the midfielders, even the wingers into the game. So it'll be interesting, man. I think Ten Hag has to go with Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno, and Bruno. I almost said Bruno Mars and Bruno, because if Everton are trying to be in the game, you need to have those attacking midfielders pinning them in the box, and the strikers actually floating in, and the fullbacks bombing forward. Manchester United have to be on it from the get-go. If they concede the early goal against Everton have proved they'll be difficult to beat. I think the supporters will be up for it. I know it's not a derby, but they'll treat it like they're playing Liverpool. For them to get a victory, even a draw against United, that would be a huge boost for Lampard and his ego. And as a Chelsea fan, I actually want Lampard to do so well. And for me, if he heads United, that would be a brilliant weekend. So, man, I think for this one, I'll go with a 2-all draw. Yeah, I told you. Let me give it. I think United can be leaky. I think, and without Varane there, I don't know if he's going to be fit. But then if Varane is not fit, I think they can be got at. I think, especially if you take a Lindelof side, I think, and Martinez, for me, it's now a matter of time before Martinez gives away a penalty anyway. And again, will he start show Malaysia? We're yet to see and find out. But I'll go with the total draw. And then the Monday night football, Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa. I think this one is quite straightforward. It will be a 0-all draw. I don't see Gerrard winning this game. I know that they try to play well against Leeds, but then the fact that they failed to beat 10 men, even though people who play football will tell you it's difficult to beat 10 men than 11 men. I think Nottingham Forest, they did have a good game despite losing 4-0. They did get some chances against Leicester City last Monday football. I guess they seem to be the team which plays Monday Night Football now. So this one, I think it will be a 0-all draw. I think both teams can be poor. Both teams have been poor. And with Nottingham Forest home, I think they will try to avoid to lose this game. And the coach, I think for me, is under pressure already, So I think it will be a 0-all draw. And then, did I speak about the Manchester City versus Southampton side, man? I think, let me touch on this on the last, because I wanted to talk more about Haaland. I think for me, Haaland might get another hat-trick, which is so scary. I mean, he's going what? Is it 5 or 4 hat-tricks on a row in the Premier League, man? That's just... And he'll be he might even take his tally to 20 goals this weekend. If we're not careful, what's stopping Haaland from scoring 6 against Southampton? If Spurs put 4 against Southampton, what's stopping City from putting 7 or 8? So that's scary, man. If Haaland can get like 6 goals. And in the Champions League, unless if he tells Pep, no, I want to get more Champions League goals, he can put 6 now in the first hour, be rested for 30 minutes, Champions League, 2 more damage in the midweek game against FC Copenhagen away from home. So, man, this one, I won't put a prediction on it. I think, because it can't be anything. It can't be a 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, even like Southampton just gets a goal back and it's 9-1, or will he get a 10-goal one? City can actually get 10 goals in this game. Imagine the chances they created against United, where they only scored 6. I think now they can go for a 10 goal. I think Pep might be crazy enough to tell his team, just go for that goal. Don't humiliate them and get 14. Just go for 10 or 9, man. But yeah, guys, those are the weekend. This game, of course, will give you like the review of the matches we play, the talking points of the matches, and I think we'll start a series of the team of the week so far, and maybe a big 6 and 6. Those are ideas I'm just coming up with for more content. Don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to the video. Subscribe and like, man. It's going to be an interesting blockbuster of a game weekend. I think we can expect some shockers. Even though I said Chelsea might win, I'm still not convinced we can beat down this Wolves side. So yeah, but all looks set for us to have a marvelous game of weekend, footballing weekend this game week 10. And I expect to see goals and get more fantasy Premier League points and drop into the thousands position, man. But yeah, overall, again, the big one, Arsenal versus Liverpool, man. That would be a crack on Sunday. I can't afford to miss that game on anything. I would rather cancel all plans I have, switch off my phones and just focus on the game, just to enjoy and absorb good football, man. Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the video. Like I said, I'm your host. See you again, Ronald M.